we decided to do our project on a movie called A Beautiful Mind. The main character is John Nash, who's a supremely intelligent mathematician who's very introverted and lacks social skills. Naturally, Nash avoids interpersonal interactions. He tends to rub people the wrong way with his straightforward demeanor. And his insults aren't intentional, he simply doesn't have the charisma. An example of this includes, my first grade teacher told me I was born with 2 helpings of a brain, but only a half helping of a heart. He's been diagnosed by us with schizophrenia, having symptoms like hallucinations, social awkwardness, and intricate imagination. Beginning in 1947 at Princeton University, John Nash faced bullying and outcastment at school. Later in the film, John developed hallucinations about the government needing him to fight in the Cold War. This could have been aided by the Red Scare that created hysteria in the US at the time. During these times, outside factors like outcastment essentially forced Nash to live inside of his own head, as he didn't have many friends to call his own. He also faced the embarrassment of disorder. The interpretation of schizophrenia goes, different cultures approach schizophrenia in different ways. In South Africa, the disorder is triggered by fear of magic and witchcraft. In different parts of the world, there are different levels of symptoms. There's a stigma that schizophrenic patients have violent tendencies, although in reality it is frustrating to not be completely sure of what's reality and fantasy. The therapist would diagnose Nash with schizophrenia.
The evidence that we saw regarding Nash's diagnosis of schizophrenia is hallucinations and paranoia. During one of Nash's math lectures, he sees what he thinks are government agents attempting to capture him. So naturally, Nash runs away from them in paranoia, when in reality it was a team of psychologists wanting to help him with his schizophrenia. Nash also imagined his roommate during his time at Princeton and developed a deep, intricate relationship with him and his niece, although they were in his head. Some of the symptoms that Nash didn't show was a lack of pleasure in the film. John Nash still enjoyed things like his intimate relationship with his wife and child and challenging board games with his peers. The treatment plan we chose was mindfulness-based cognitive therapy and medication drugs to help him with his disorder. The mindfulness-based cognitive therapy combines meditation with cognitive-based therapy, which restructures negative thought patterns, which should allow Nash to have better control of his symptoms. We would also prescribe Nash with medications in order to help his disorder. In particular, we would describe him with atypical antipsychotics. It seems that in the film, around the time the 1950s, they prescribed him with typical antipsychotics because he had side effects like fatigue, not being able to take care of his child, being in the moment, and was unable to make love to his wife and be there for her emotionally. Additionally, in the film, this team of psychologists also implied a treatment plan of insulin shock therapy that lasted many weeks. Some of the ethical concerns of the treatment was that the drugs would affect his personal life to a point where he wouldn't be able to enjoy his life, and he would have to weigh his health versus his emotional enjoyment. Some societal, cultural, and situational barriers that hindered John Nash from receiving treatment were that he believed the people in his life had bad intentions, so he felt that treatment could be a possible trap. Another of the societal barriers would be his fear of outcastment due to the acceptability of the public regarding psychological disorders at this time. Some of the broader perspectives. We believe that the directors of this film portrayed a schizophrenic patient accurately because of Nash's deep and intricate hallucinations with Charles and his niece Marcy. Also, the hallucinations regarding the top secret Russian project and helping the United States during the time of the Red Scare. Although this movie was an exaggeration for dramatic effect, it did accurately portray. We also believe that in most cases there's an over-exaggeration of mental disorders in films. We believe Nash had a severe case of schizophrenia, but it was also exaggerated to sell more tickets Due to this, the viewers don't want to accept themselves as freaks as displayed in the movie, so they aren't honest with themselves and don't want to accept that reality and get treatment to help their disorder.